Okay, sir. So let's start with the beginning. Where were you born and when?
I was born in El Paso, Texas. Providence Hospital, 1962.
Okay. Where do you live in your childhood?
I lived in different areas in my childhood. I lived just off Alameda, off just about close to Copia. I used to live right across the street from a brewery called Falstaff Brewery, right across the street.
How was it to grow up in this neighborhood?
It was super.
Yeah.
It was super because I had a huge parking lot where all the employees would park, and then when they would leave, I had I mean, it was bigger. Almost the parking lot was about the space of the school. It was huge. I mean, it was a huge parking lot, and I got to play all night. Light was on all night, so we played baseball all night. We played football all night. We could do everything. We could ride bikes out there all night, right in front of the house. And there was nobody.
Sounds great.
Was.
Like your own park.
It was. It was super. It was just right across the street.
Okay. What is the best memory of your childhood?
Best memory of my childhood, besides my grandmother. Oh, I have several of them. I guess when I was a kid, I made the city baseball all-star team 6 years in a row. I made the all-star team in baseball 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. 5 years in a row. 5 years in a row.
Okay. What will be some advice you will give to your teenage self and why?
Why? My biggest advice would be, if you're about to do something, you got to ask yourself a question. And the question should be, am I doing the right thing or am I doing the wrong thing? And if the answer is the wrong thing, then that should give you an idea that you should back away or not do it and go and take yourself to the right path and not the bad path. That would be my advice every time. Always thinking when you have a decision to make, am I doing the right thing or am I doing the wrong thing? Ask yourself, answer it, and you yourself know if you are doing the right thing or the wrong thing.
Okay, after high school, what did you do next?
I had a scholarship for New Mexico State, paid by the Navy, and the Navy it was a national, it was a scholarship for minorities, or when you were black, if you were black or Hispanic, Asian, it was a minority scholarship, and that was for chemical engineering. So, about 6 weeks after I graduated, I was off to Washington, D.C. to see my workstation. I worked at the Pentagon, and I worked at a place called Naval Air Systems Command. And I did that for 6 weeks before I even started college. And I was in the materials department because I was going to study to be a chemical engineer. So did that for 6 weeks, came back from Washington, D.C., and then I did a full year in New Mexico State, and then I did Navy time. 6 months because the Navy was paying for it, so they paid for my school, and they paid for my travel, or TDY. And I did that for 3 years. And then my basketball coach kind of talked me out of being a chemical engineer into becoming a basketball coach and chemistry, physics, as well as a science teacher.
Okay, so you went out of high school and then you went on to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
to work in the Pentagon?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was part of the scholarship. It was what you call a pre-co-op. It used to be cooperative education. It was co-op education. Co-op education was, you did 6 months in school, 6 months duty, 6 months in school, 6 months duty.
Often.
But your first year, you did 6-week pre-trial to see if you liked your workstation, if you got along with everybody there, if Washington D.C. was a place, because there was different places that the Navy could send you. You could go to Point Mugu, California. You can go to Vallejo, California. You can go to Dahlgren, Virginia, for chemical weapons warfare, which my friend went, and he stayed in the Navy, and that would have been great. Chemical warfare is pretty neat stuff.
Okay. how would you describe your college experience?
When I was in New Mexico State, I stayed in a dorm. So anytime you stay in a dorm, you can say it's fun.
Okay. um, okay, so you went to the Navy, right? Because of the scholarship. And what was your role in the Navy?
I was an MN. I was a mine man.
What did they do?
And a mine man has several things he can do, depending on your strengths and your weaknesses. You can go below water, you can stay at the surface, or you can go a little bit farther back where you lay mines down, you remove mines, you lay mines down, you know, that kind of stuff. It's almost like EOD, explosives. MNs are hard to find. Everybody's going to EOD now. But MNs are needed for, like for example, right now in the Persian Gulf, we've got the whole fleet going over there. So your job is to either to remove mines or not remove mines. Well, remove mines or, you know, implode them, just in case, you know, the Iranian Navy decides to put, and they love to put mines down.
Okay. So you're a veteran, right? That means you went to war.
No, a veteran is anybody who served in the military and did this full time.
Okay.
You don't have to be go to war and be a veteran.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
This is kind of a personal question, more personal question, and if you don't want to answer, just say pass. But have you ever killed someone?
I'm not gonna make any comment.
Okay. In what ways do you think the Army changed you?
Not the Army.
Oh, sorry, the Navy.
Navy didn't really change me much because my family's military. Before I even got in, there was already 12. There's 12 Marines in my family that served. At that time I went in, there was 8. And my uncle had just come in from Vietnam. He had done 2 terms in '67 and '69. And my other uncle was a captain. He did 1 term in Vietnam, and I used to go stay with him. So I was always surrounded around Marine Corps. So I was more disciplined going in than most guys were going in.
But when you get out of the Navy, when you got out,
When I got out of the Navy, I became I was a teacher, and
But-
then I went back. I went back in 1999. I joined the reserves.
but do you think that you gain attributes you didn't have when you got out?
You gain many attributes. You learn to adapt. You learn the key terms are you learn to adapt, improvise, learn how to talk to people from different cultures in different areas. You learn responsibility. You learn not to be not self-confident. You learn self-confidence. You learn, a lot of people are afraid to ask questions. You learn how to ask questions to save your butt.
Okay. Overall, are you grateful for went to the Navy?
I'm grateful for the scholarship that they gave me, yes. I'm grateful for all the experience, yes. I'm grateful to be a teacher. I think this is like the greatest job ever. There's nothing better than being a teacher. You don't pay much anywhere, but it's a super job.
Okay, very good. So you said that your basketball coach convinced you to
Become a teacher
become a teacher.
and a coach.
How did he convince you?
One, he was like my father. So he was my mentor. He actually gave me a chance to be a teacher when I was a sophomore and junior in high school. He would walk out of the room, and he would tell me, take over the class. And I would take over the class, even though I was about the same age as everybody else. So my teaching career actually started about 1977 and 78 with regular students of my age. And he let me do that for the rest until I finished U.S. government my senior year. He got me my first basketball job. My first teaching job, my first basketball job. He helped me get my first head coaching job. He was always there for me. Anytime I ever needed something, if I was in trouble, my car broke down, stuff, he was there.
He was everything to me. He's my dad. He's still alive.
One last question. If this was your last day alive, would you be satisfied with the life you have lived?
No,
No? Why?
I wanted to be a baseball player all my life. Tell you the truth, I wanted to be. That was what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a baseball player. But I have no. That's the only thing.
I am very satisfied right now.
Okay. Thank
Happy.
you. Thank you for your time, for your answers.
You're welcome.
Thank you.